The news media play a crucial role in modern democracy by providing citizens with the information they need to hold their government accountable. But in recent years, there has been increased concern over the spread of fake news and misinformation. References to the death of truth and the post-truth world are commonplace, and it is frequently asserted that people live in parallel universes defined by their partisan leanings and without a common baseline of facts. To what extent are these statements accurate? This paper probes that question by studying how discerning U.S. citizens are about real political news. Nearly 15,000 respondents participated in financially incentivized online quizzes in which they were presented with 3 true news stories and 3 fake news stories, and asked to select the ones they believed most likely to be true. To define the journalistic truth on which individuals were tested, the authors designed a protocol to identify each month the 3 most important news stories about the U.S. federal government according to mainstream media. First, they relied on Reuters' wire stories about U.S. national politics to approximate the universe of relevant mainstream news stories. Then, a panel of professional journalists selected from that set the 3 major domestic news stories of the past month. In the surveys, these true stories were presented alongside 3 statements about fake political news stories that could have happened over the same time span. These statements were either produced by the same panel of journalists or provided by Snopes.com, a leading fact-checking website that identifies fake news stories that have actually been circulated. So the question is, given a set of recent important political events, how many voters are informed about them and can distinguish them from fake news? The surveys were run for 11 months on 14 different panels of approximately 1,000 U.S. voters each, and the resulting data were used to estimate the parameters of a news discernment model. This allows the authors to analyze the confidence with which individuals discern true news stories from fake ones, and to estimate the degree to which an individual's beliefs are affected by features of the story or of the voter themselves. To start, the aggregate results indicate that 82% of individuals correctly identify the true news story when they are presented with a typical pair of recent true and false stories. However, this headline number masks important patterns in people's confidence in their answers. The authors estimate that when asked to assign 9-to-1 odds of truth in favor of a given statement, 47% of individuals assign those odds in favor of the true story, 3% do so in favor of the fake story, and the remaining 50% is uncertain. When the level of confidence is lowered to 3-to-1 odds, the analogous numbers are 66, 8, and 26%. These results run against the narrative that journalistic truth is dead. A majority of U.S. voters can confidently identify the news stories that journalists consider most important and reject the widely circulated or well-crafted fake stories presented alongside them. At the same time, there is a sizable minority that is quite distant from journalistic truth. A significant share is unsure about the truth of true news stories, while the rest find the fake stories to be much more plausible than the real stories. What explains these different beliefs? One possibility is that people tend to believe, or be better informed about, news that reflects favorably on their preferred political party. And in this sample, partisan congruence between a news story and an individual does matter in determining information levels. Individuals are about 2 percentage points more likely to select a true news story if it reflects favorably on their preferred political party, and about 4 percentage points more likely to assign 3-to-1 odds in favor of its truth. But the results also show that socioeconomic variables play a crucial role. This figure shows the probability that individuals belonging to different subgroups select the true news story when faced with a typical pair of true and fake stories. Older voters, for example, are 6 percentage points more likely to select the true story relative to younger voters. The probability of selecting a true story is positively related to a subject's age, education, gender, income, and ethnicity. These effects are not explained by differences in political preference or media consumption, and each is individually larger than the effect of partisan congruence. In fact, when taken jointly, the overall effect of socioeconomic variables is almost an order of magnitude larger than the partisanship effect. In the most extreme case, the probability that an older, high-income, college-educated white man identifies a true story is 18 percentage points greater than that of an individual with the 5 complementary characteristics. This is 9 times the effect of partisan congruence. Thus, the starkest pattern about the ability of U.S. voters to identify major news stories is not a generalized dearth of truth or polarization across ideological camps. It is inequality along socioeconomic lines. Factors such as age, gender, income, education, and race determine who the informed and uninformed are in America, and to the extent politicians with re-election concerns have incentive to neglect less informed groups, this raises serious concerns about political accountability. Going forward, there are also important questions for further research, including the reason for these large inequalities and possible policy solutions. To read more on this topic, you can check out the paper's references to other related work. This includes research on the news media, voters' information about political news, and misinformation.